Ah, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is a good morning. I love that freshness in the morning. I'm still in Regensburg, and I think it's sprinkling outside at the moment. There's a window right behind me, so I can catch the light. You are listening to this morning music by my friend Richard Maddock. He's a pianist, ballet pianist, and such. Yeah, so many albums on Spotify. So any of you ballet teachers out there, he has classes on Spotify, and they're totally worth investing in and using for your classes if you have to use them for any situation to teach. So I thank you, Richard, for letting me use this music this morning. Okie dokie. I'm here this morning with you, feeling very soft and listening to Love's Reflections. So I'm feeling good. This morning I slept really well, and I'm on my 4th day here in Regensburg. I leave on Sunday. Okay, let's get straight on to my topic today, or just something I want to talk about. And you know, this is unedited and everything, so you're with me, and I'm just going to talk off my head and just allow myself, because it's just as real as it can be. I want to read something by Maya Angelou, and she says, "You are the sum total of everything you've ever seen, heard, eaten, smelled, been told, forgot. It's all there. Everything influences each of us, and because of that, I try to make sure that my experiences are positive." So that's a very motivational text there. If you knew everything around you either programmed you for success or failure, how would you change that? So how would I change it? Well, I started just becoming very aware of myself and just me, because I suffered, like, as well as I know a lot of you suffer. Like, yeah, I don't know. I look outside, I just look outside, and the so-called resistance of playfulness or just kind of just coping. People are just, sometimes it feels like they're just coping and not engaging. Maybe that's me. It's our natural sense. I believe it's our natural sense. Let's go to this programming. Programming, you know, your everything programs you when you're little. Your environment, your home environment, programs you. Your religion programs you. I was programmed like that. Your culture, where you're from. I am from the South in Alabama, and let me just say it like this: I absolutely have no regrets at all, or wish I was somewhere else, because I have a very loving family who did the absolute best they could, I believe, under certain conditions. You know, I have parents that were born in the 50s, and I was born in the 60s, mid-60s. So how society was then, and how it dictated how you to be, for you to be, and all that program started. It starts as a child also too, when your ego's developed, and all those kind of things. So, like, as I was getting older and I left home when I was 16, and I just, yeah, how do you say, like, you know, I was from a very little town. I had no idea about how to take care of myself or anything like that. So, don't you love this music? It's beautiful. It puts me in a great space. So, like, I realized that, well, I just followed the herd, as you'd say. Just like in school, you know, wearing the right clothes, wearing the right or what society dictated what was right or wrong. My religion told me what was right or wrong. My family told me what was right or wrong. But I could see that they were doing basically what they told me was wrong. So how could that be an example? So I learned to start to manipulate, and I learned to start to try to find my comfort zone, I guess you would say, especially in public or around people. But in private, I guess, you know, I was like this, I think, wild child, this really happy guy, this really happy child who just loved to run around and tumble, and I taught myself to do tricks in the yard, and very hyperactive, and you know, perhaps I still am because that's my nature, and yeah, so you know, I started to be told how to behave, and you know, good children are to be seen and not heard. So you know, like all of these little things, and bless them because they know not what they're doing, I guess, in a way. And so we're in a new, I am in a new paradigm. So I start to look at all that stuff like that, and I have like adapted myself to every situation, and I think for me, you know, I have to say, like, when I left home, I had no skills how to take care of myself, but I certainly had a lot of fear, because I had no idea. I had no idea how to relate, basically, to people outside my family, especially on a professional level, or how can I say, working in a professional company with all of these people, and that was like a hierarchy. So, like, you know, you have to reach this to become this and this, and so that was my first beginnings. And how old was I? I was 16 years old, 17 years old, 18 years old, professional. And you know, I started to adapt myself. So all of that, all of this programming prior to that, everything, I was existing from that point of my sense of programming. So I was acting on how I thought I was supposed to behave, and how I was supposed to do to fit in, to feel comfortable. And we will do anything we want, anything we can to feel comfortable in any situation. And sometimes, you know, especially when you start to become tired of that kind of thing, you start to look at yourself, and you start to ask yourself, why do I respond like that? Or I don't want to have that thought, or you know, a prejudiced thought even about yourself and about other people. And you know, all of this kind of mental garbage that arises in your head is there. And you know, when you start to realize that, you know, everything, you know, I've been successful with what I've done as a dancer, especially because I had a talent. And you know, when I was dancing, you know, it's like I was up on stage and I could dance, so I didn't have to talk, or I didn't have to be, but within the dance, I mean, it was like, oh my God, it's such a privilege to be able to do that. And I was able to express myself with my body, and learning technique was a skill, and we love to learn. And all of that is because I wanted to do that. And you know, I mean, my teachers and everybody wants to mold you into how they want you to be, and all that. And I guess in some ways that's valuable, because teachers have things to say. But you know, there are also teachers who are abusive and who are manipulative and want the success for themselves, maybe. And you know, all of those things have been in my experience, and other things. But this would be a very, very long talk if I continue that. And so I've got my whole life to talk, I guess, and I want to talk, and I'm so grateful that you're here. And you know, it's a good diary for me, all of these things, because I can look back on them if I want to. Anyhow, so I think I've always been curious about my own experience, and my own experience in this world. And I realize I am programmed to be how everybody, or be how they or it wants you to be, and dictates how you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to behave, how you're supposed to. So there's like all this creative little guy was like, oh my God, I was so creative and I wanted to do this and I wanted to do that. And I used to remember earlier in my life, when I left home also, I started to wear clothes as I really wanted to wear. And, you know, I felt vulnerable. I mean, I could say it. When I felt vulnerable, I pulled away because I didn't feel like I fit in, and I felt like it, you know, and just by simply wearing certain clothes, you know, you had to wear certain colors, you had to wear certain, just stand to kind of fit in the herd so you don't stand out. And it's like, we're also told not to stand out because it's like about your ego. Oh my God. So you see where I'm going? And can you like relate to that? So right now I'm in a time where, you know, it's like I don't want anyone to tell me how to be. And I am so fortunate because I've created my own business, and my business happens to be in dance. And I want to do everything I can in this dance world. Like I have so many skills. I'm a great teacher. I love to teach. My passion is there first, and my passion for the people. And I love to create. I'm such a creative guy, and we all are creative. That's why I'm sharing these talks, because you have such a creative side to you. And a creative side that like it cannot be dismissed. It will come out, and it wants to come out. That's what we're here to do, is create and co-create, like I was talking about yesterday. But I'm a creative guy, and so like to choreograph, like it was such a dream of mine. But I got into certain doors and certain places that, you know, that where opportunities were falling in my lap. So I became a ballet master in both two successful companies, and I never really felt that was like my calling, you know what I mean? But I want to help people, and it came to me, and the opportunities, I absolutely am so incredibly grateful for those opportunities, because they taught me what I didn't want. And although in those I learned a lot about myself, so we're such gifts, and so the universe gave me that, I guess. So I have no regrets for any of that. So, but I wanted to create, I wanted to choreograph. So, you know, it's like a catch-22 kind of thing. Even though I'm in the business, I got to co-create with Forsyth, and I created a lot of my material with my colleagues and with him, and it was shown on stage and such. So there was an outlet for me. And so Ballet Frankfurt, working with Forsyth, if you don't know who that is, he's one of the most famous choreographers. He changed the face of dance. And when I was in that place, when I went there, I really found my home. Because in a way, I think just on the, what it satisfied in me, because I could be creative. Although, you know, underneath everything was still this insecure person. So I lived behind that surface of that, the legacy of that company. And it created, so my personality, or my personality, I could be on stage, and I could be crazy, and I could be outrageous, and I could use my dance as my tool to express myself. And I was like, I'm so grateful for that. Billy Forsyth, I'm so grateful for that. What that place did for me, it was like an incredible, absolutely incredible outlet for me to just express myself. But underneath all that, I got caught up in that, my ego got caught up in that company, and I rode on the wave of success in that way, and I felt valued superficially. But I think when I left there, somehow some of the things I had not experienced within my person had not been had not manifested, and I felt really a lot of the times I felt really insecure. But I felt happy when people were happy about my dancing, or told me I was a great dancer, or all those kind of things. And they're really, yeah, I'm really also grateful for that. But I don't know, I just started suffering. So I became ballet master, and that was another hill to climb, as you'd see, because I didn't have any skills. And, you know, like, none of these things that I do now, I had the skills. And so that's why I believe that we can manifest and co-create with the universe. Because simply, like, I create my world, and I am so happy about that. And now I put myself out there because I find it necessary within my development. Anyhow, it doesn't At the moment, I'm not going to talk about that so much, but I will be, and I will continue because it's in myself and it needs to get out of my system, and maybe you can relate to that. But the programming that I've had to endure, I think it's not a right or wrong thing, but I think that it could have been done better. So I have no regrets because it teaches me about how I want to be today and how I want to be, like how I want to be, how I want to walk into a room, how I want to take care of myself, how I want to express myself, how I want to be with people and not feel that I have to try to behave in a certain way or to be a certain way for people to accept me, or to make the right choreography, or to teach the right class, or to, you know, for them to validate me. And I have been playing that, or I played that, especially when I started to choreograph. And like, you know, I'm still learning. I've been choreographing like freelance choreographer now for 8 years, like consistently, and I've had some amazing experiences and not so. So all of this, you know, all of it just accumulates and it creates the kind of person that you are. And it's all there, like it's all there. So I start to look at it and I start breaking it all apart. And I realize the subtlety of the insecurity is still there. You know, it is still there, and we all have those things, and I live with those now. And I actually bring them out. I bring them to the light, because when I bring them to the light, how can you say, you know what I mean? When I bring it forward, I feel it. I allow it. I feel this insecurity, and I do it anyway. And I think I've always done that, but now I'm aware of it, and now I realize that there's no need to suffer. There's no need for me to be validated from anybody. You know, as I do these talks, if you've gotten this far in my talk, I don't need your approval. You don't need my approval. And it is such a big thing because change takes time. Change to the evolution of your own self-development, your own unique, incredible self needs to go through change, and you have to let go, and you're going to lose people in your life because they weren't really there for you, because they want you to be how they want you to be. And I experience that exactly right now, like I'm experiencing that. But I have gained, and I gain people in my life that are so authentic and so real and so don't give a fuck what I do, because they're supportive, or, you know, like, they care for my well-being and how I want to change. Like, this is just my life, my world, and I'm here to do this. So I want to deprogram or reprogram. Can you reprogram? I guess we're programmed. I guess the mind can only program, I guess. But I'm allowing, and I'm working with the universe, and the law of attraction is huge, as it's been always. And by default, I'm here. It creates it. I am here, and I think I'm in the happiest space I've ever been in my life, because I'm out there, I'm doing my thing, I'm risking, I'm wherever it goes, I don't know. My ego wants more, but I'm gonna play with my ego, because don't ever try to get rid of it, because it's incredibly valuable. It's like the most valuable thing. Thank you, Maya Angelou, for all of her work. What an incredible, incredible person. So you can rise above everything. You can rise above all of the abuse. Let's just put it that way. And the programming and the controlling and all of that stuff, and really become who you think you are. And it's frightening. It's at the same time beautiful, extraordinary, incredible. Just, it's absolutely divine, and it's more worth than feeling abused, I guess. And we can do that all by ourselves. Alright, this is 20-minute morning talk, and I know that maybe you don't have the time, but if you've watched this far, thank you for watching so much. Please subscribe if you're on YouTube, and if you're on Facebook, thank you so much for watching. And I'll be with you tomorrow. I love you so much, every one of you. Be yourself at all costs. And love. Ciao.